profit and revenue. So
Great. I absolutely love that. So if you look at, it's super important for you to have an additional income so you can do what you want, just as Eric said, and hopefully spend less time doing it. So why now? So that begs the question, why now? And our why now was really simple. In my last position, I was the chief culinary officer for a $1 billion company. And as COVID happened, I was privileged to some insights on the financials, but I also was asked to lay off 72,000 of my employees. And for me, who I am as a person, I just couldn't work with that. It was not me. And for me, I know when we have the right people, we kind of get through this and we could come out stronger than we went into. So for me, it was really the point where I said, you know what, nobody's looking out for the chefs and culinary in the industry. Nobody's having their back. We need somebody who's stepping up and becomes the cheerleader. I have a mentor. I talk to him about it and he says, Christian, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? You guys need to do it. So that's where I called Joe. That's where we called Eric. So now is the time. We had 6.5 million people losing their jobs through COVID. Not only did they lose their jobs, they lost their livelihoods. And what a lot of them lost more than anything, they lost the drive to keep going and do something else. I know jobs are coming back. I was part of a call yesterday from the labor board where the labor board told us that it's not that there's not enough people out there which want to work. There's enough people out there, but a lot of chefs are seeing a third of the culinary force, all of hospitality workers, switch gears. They went into a different segment in the industry. Some of them went into grocery stores, and the example which was used, none of the grocery stores needs employees because chefs went there, hospitality workers went there. Now where the restaurants want to have them come back, it's not coming back. So that was our number one reason. The second reason for us is really, it caught everybody off guard. It caught everybody in a way that they couldn't get ready. And what we want to do is we want to provide an opportunity for hospitality workers, chefs in particular, how they can get ready, help them create an extra source of income, help them to get a promotion, help them to start something really meaningful for them to making an impact for themselves, for their family, for their career and their lives. So this for us was really the reason why and why not. I also need to say there's really nothing special about us. I always look at me as an example. I'm from a small town in Austria. My town, my section of the town had 27 people. And half of the people were my family because I have 5 brothers, 5 sisters. You know, my parents had very few hobbies. Obviously, they had one hobby, but there was very few people of us. If I can get to the 1% of our industry, we can teach other people to do that. I came to this country not speaking English. I actually took Russian in school because I thought it was cool, and I took French because they made me because of the culinary school. But for me, I didn't speak English as I came here. And if I can do it, we can teach somebody else to do it. And the but for us is really different, is because we have a very unique and simple approach in a way that what we have learned, listen, I had restaurants which failed. I had businesses which failed. I screwed up. We screwed up many times. But for me, the biggest impact was, how are you coming back from that? And are you learning from that? And for me, where I spent a lot of investment in myself is I always wanted to make sure I have the right support group around me, have the right mentors, have the right coaches. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody has a coach. The best athletes in the world have coaches. If you're a great tennis player, look at Roger Federer. He has 3 coaches. He has just a coach for the backhand, and he has the best backhand in the industry. So everybody needs a coach. And I was really lucky with my group is they put accountability back on me. And where all of this changed for me was that Joe and I look at this and say, hey, COVID didn't happen to us. It happened for us because it allows us to step up as leaders in the industry. It allows us to step up and run this industry and become the people which teach other chefs how to do what we do. It's not complicated. It just takes principle. It takes daily actions, and it takes somebody to hold you accountable. So again, there's nothing special about us 3. What makes us really special is that we learn from this and we have a coachable and learnable mindset. I kind of skipped the next slide just to kind of get through to that. So let us teach you quick these 6 principles we have learned, and we call it the business wealth creator. The cool thing about it is it works for anything. If you have in a restaurant, if you have a career, if you have a company which gives you electronic business cards, whatever you have, it works for that. And it's really simple. So we have the circle, and there's 6 things around it. The first one is the psychology needs to change. You probably heard it said, in order for something in your life to change, you need to change. Why do you think that is? Because it was even Einstein which said that the way of thinking or the level of thinking is not going to help us where we need to go if it got us to where we are today. So it needs to change, and we talk a little bit more about it. The product you have, you need to become a problem solver. And we have some really good solutions for you around that. How do you position that product in the marketplace? How do you promote it? And that works for anything. That works in a restaurant, that works for yourself, that works in if you want to be a health coach. It works if you want to, pimp up cars like Sony has. His car looks amazing. I want to learn that from him. And then also, how do you create a process which generates that growth? And then, and how do you create clients? We don't call them clients, we call it raving fans. Because a client is somebody you have a transaction. But the cool thing is, if you have a raving fan who tells everybody else about it. So let's go in a little bit deeper. Let me start you off. So in the workbook we send you, we have this in there, but let's kind of go through it. So number 1 in psychology for me is that you need to start working harder on yourself than you do in your job and your business. So what does that mean? I'm not a big believer that you need to go and double down on the things you're bad at. I think you need to double down on the things you're good at. And you can hire somebody for the things you're not good at. So we really encouraging whatever you do, and it works for sports, that works for your career, and that works for your business. You need to work harder on yourself, because as you grow, your business grows. So you need to work harder on yourself than you do in your business. You need to understand your people's problems. And for me, having a new business is actually super easy. The way you do it is you have an idea, you send somebody a survey, hey, what is your problem? And that's about understanding your client. They come back and tell you what their problem is. You create a product and sell it back to them. The easiest way to create a business. And it works if you have a restaurant, if you have a career. The career is I go into my boss's office and say, hey, what keeps you up at night? Create something around it and pitch it back to him. Works all the time. And then the psychographics, really understand what makes them tick. Because you can go to somebody and give them a pitch about something if they're not excited about it, if it's not what lights them up, or if it's something they're not super 100% passionate about. So really understand them. And those is really in a quick way, the 3 things. Work harder on yourself than you work on your business. Understand the people you want to provide that product for. And a restaurant, for example, if you're in the heart of Austrian country and you do Mexican food, you might not sell that much. But if you do good Austrian food, it will work. I really understand the people you're trying to serve. And then also understand the people, what drives them, what impacts them, what motivates them. And that's part of the psychographics. With that, I turn it over to Joe, and he's going to talk a little bit about problem solving. You there, Uncle Joe?
Sorry about that. You need to find your passion. Okay. You find your passion, you find your why, you find your energy. When you're all energized, nothing can stop you. For me, my whole career, and that's how I began in this career. I followed my heart. My heart said, help people. So we're in the industry of what? Helping people. My heart says, learn every day. Be better today than you were yesterday. That's what I want to do. I follow my heart. My heart says, help our fellow culinarians. We created a business like this. Basically, I believe all chefs are teachers to begin with. So that's our following. But again, your passion, your why, your energy, they're all wrapped up into 3. The second one, you have to take action on it. There are so many people out there, very, very talented. And when they don't go into the action and they're stifled, they're they can make a great sauce, but if they don't go to the stove, they've got nothing. So the actionability is the biggest key too. You can sit there, and that's why you guys today are listening to this, and we're going to all participate because we're going to take action. Without action, nothing gets done. And I'm a big believer on action. The last thing, dream, create a game plan. Every morning I get up, and as I'm in the shower, I'm dreaming, how's that day going to go? How am I going to speak to Eric? Hey, what's Mr. Steve going to tell me today? Dream big, big. There's nothing. If let's go back to what Christian just said. If Gordon Ramsay can make 415 million, then by golly, we can too. Okay. The dreams, it's like a black hole. There's no stopping us. When we're in a community such as this, I've got Mr. Steve to help me with part of this. I got Eric to help me with my marketing. I have a culinary question. I ask Christian. I have some, I want to talk Indian food. I go to Chef Cherie, Mr. Chapman. The community supports it. Tell me what we can't do here, people. So dream big.
I absolutely love that. And let me tell you quick how one builds on the other. So the first thing is the mindset. So if I'm in the right mindset and I make an impact in my own life and things keep to grow, you need to do what Joe just talked about is having the product. So how do you create that? And for me, what comes up every time Joe talks about it is really when you start thinking different than the average person does, you will start doing things different than the average person does. And you will have different results than the average person does. So for me, it's a fun play of words, but it's absolutely true. If I work on myself, I look at things differently. I start thinking different things. I keep doing things. You heard it. You become what you think about. And it also goes the other way around positioning and reputation, what we're talking about. You also heard that you become the average of the 5 people you both spend most of your time with. So choose your friends really wisely, because if you hang out with 5 losers, there's a very good chance you become number 6. If you hang out with 5 people which want to make a difference in their lives and the lives and others and serve in a way only they can, it will rub off on you. And for me, proximity has power. You want to be around those people because it will make an impact for you in what you do and how you show up. So when we talk about positioning, is really how do you build a reputation? And building a reputation is perception is reality in business and in marketing. So how do you do that? So creating a brand around that, and branding the product you have, the branding how you are. What are some of the awards? What are some of the affiliations? Let me give you one thing. And please, if you have something to write it down. How do you look at somebody if they are being nominated for an award, or if they get the Entrepreneur of the Year award? Do you look at them differently? And let me give you a really simple trick. You can go out there, and there's thousands and thousands of these awards in whatever you do. And I actually just tried it a few days ago myself. I applied to 2 of them, and I got 3 nominations back. So Joe and I just nominated for Food Service Innovation Company of the Year. I'm nominated for the Small Business Owner of the Year, and I'm also nominated for an individual award, which is an Entrepreneur Award. It's great that I have it, but how cool is it when I do a presentation and I write on the bottom, I'm one of the 3 people nominated for this award? Do you think of me differently? It's reputation and how you show in the marketplace. Would I like to have it? Yeah. Do I care about it? No, because it doesn't matter if you nominate it, people are looking at you differently. And for me, a book is a good example. So if you have chefs out there which are really good in what they do, and you have somebody who has a book, don't you look at the person with the book that they have just something extra, they different, and they just a level above. And writing a book is really easy. We actually have one of the participants here we were able to work with, and we helped him writing a book in less than 60 days, from idea to execution. I think it was day 57, he published a book. So you could do it, and people look at him different. And the next thing is around affiliation. Because if you have a good brand, you are nominated for some awards, you make changes in your own life, you have a better product positioning, you have a good reputation in the industry, other people want to tell other people about it because they want to be with people which are like them. So really super important that you create a brand, do the awards, and then the affiliations. But it really kind of brings it full circle if you tell the story. And the story is really simple. I see a lot of people in our industry, when I watch them on YouTube or any of the other videos, I kind of question it all because it's always perfect. And as we said earlier, for me, I screwed up. I lost businesses. You know, I wasn't always perfect. But be who you are. People fall in love with you. And if you don't like yourself on video, it doesn't make a difference because people fall in love with the person you are. If you are real, if you who you really are, people, there's no other way then. People will start falling in love with you because you are what attracts them. And podcast is a very good way of doing this. And also the SWOT analysis. I don't know if you heard about it. Just kind of looking at the 4 different sections, what drives you, what drives my clients, what does the competition do, and kind of looking at that. And we can share this with you afterwards, the format and the tool we use. But that's a really great way for you to kind of position yourself in the marketplace to be different than the competition, be different than the chef next door, be different than the restaurant next door, and be different than some of the other competitors you have. Works all the time, works really well for us. So with that, I turn it over to Eric to talk a little bit about the automated marketing machine, which he's a genius at, and talk a little bit about promotion.
Cool. So before I get into the actual tactics, so the list that we'll go through, I just want to echo, a lot of what's come before, right? It applies to a business and it applies to yourself, right? As an individual. So I want you guys to start thinking about, you are a business, right? You have a set of products and services that you deliver to the marketplace. And to that end, you or your business are a media company, right? You're out there telling your story. You have a culture that you want to build and have people know about. And these are all things that you're going to incorporate into your daily life, right? So if you write that book, that's a product and extension of you, and it's going to get people thinking differently about you. If you're a restaurant and your food is your product and your service is how you treat people, and everything that can go along with it, right? So there's a whole bunch to your story that you need to figure out before you can even start thinking about automating that message and getting in front of people, right? So things to think about are, what do you stand for? What are you passionate about? What are deal breakers in your life that people need to know about? You don't work on Sundays, right? Chick-fil-A, right? A successful business, they don't operate on Sundays, and yet everyone still loves them, raves about them, and that's not going to change their success in any way, shape, or form. So you need to think about, what's the culture of your business and how do you want to communicate that? And when you can get all these things wrapped up and thought about, then you can start putting them through some of the systems, right? So you can put the slide up if you want to, or I can just talk about something that I work on with restaurants or other businesses, for instance, which I'll call the ROI Engine. So the idea here is, look, you have a successful restaurant, and one of the challenges is you want to get people to spend more money, come back more often, or and obviously tell their friends, right? So how can you do that consistently? Well, it's really hard when you're trying to train your staff, and they're trying to get just the daily experience working perfectly, right? And so you want to focus on the customer, not have them thinking about all these other things. So there are things that you can do through technology, using things like Facebook Messenger. So you have a set of promotions that you've already thought about. You kind of sort of set it, forget it. And you're going to, load them into Facebook Messenger, and you're going to send people a weekly or a monthly text with offers for your business that will incentivize people to come in. They'll get a free appetizer, let's say, whatever it is. But they know that they're getting something on their birthday or a free appetizer, and they're bringing in 3 of their friends, and they're increasing that check value because now they're having a great time. They're getting some value from you. They love the experience, and your staff's doing what they do best, which is providing hospitality, right? So you remove some of the manual things in your day-to-day marketing, and you start having that messaging become automated in a way that computers can be more consistent than we possibly can ever be, right? The sales funnel, same thing. So everything, I look at everything as a sales funnel, right? So you've got people that have no idea who you are, and you have your raving fans, which you talked about previously, right? And so everybody's kind of following along in that continuum, right? And they're going down into that funnel, and they become, their relationship becomes stronger and stronger with you. But that's hard to just, okay, it's great with like 3 or 5 customers. It's hard when you've got 1,000 or more. How do you remember their birthdays? How do you get in front of them in front of anniversaries? So you need to think about the different touch points and the messaging in a way that, okay, it's not just throw up an ad or put something in a newspaper and you're done. You create different messages for different types of people that you're getting in front of. And then whether it's that Facebook ad or that Google ad or something on Yelp, it's targeted to the type of person that you're trying to attract, whether it's someone who doesn't know anything about you. Okay, you're telling a little bit about your story. Someone who's been there 50 times over the last 10 years, great. Now you're just a little gentle nudge to get them to come in and have another dining experience with you. If it's, on a personal level, you think about yourself too, like having a sales funnel, right? There are people that don't know about you. You're trying to advance in your career. You're trying to go to that next restaurant. You can implement the same, marketing tactics that a business does. Throw up an ad out there on Facebook, or, do some cool things with some video. Go do some interviews with restaurants down the road just to find out about them, get to know them. So you can kind of become a media personality no matter what you're doing. And that brings us to the last thing, which is, social media. One of the things I find interesting is that, people go on there and they often talk about themselves a lot, which is fine. But they're not having a conversation, right? They're not being social. They're just constantly selling and selling and selling without creating a relationship, which is not what you do in your day-to-day life, right? When you connect with people authentically, you are telling your story, and you can do that in a way that, one of the sad things I saw with a lot of businesses that closed, or people that weren't doing well, was that, they kind of just backed away and they said, oh, I'm not spending any money on marketing, or I'm not going to go on social media because things aren't going well and people aren't coming in the door. And that's the time when they should have been, just 100% all in, telling their story, even just, saying like, hey, today was a bit of a slow day. As everyone's been affected by COVID. This is what we're doing to provide for us, but also our staff. These people have families. These are the people that you've, known over the past 10 years. Can you support us? And the restaurants that did that, and the ones that also thought about new ways to serve their customers and then tell their customers that they were serving them in a new way, are the ones that I've seen survive and thrive in this economy right now. So I just wanted to touch on that. We can go to the next one, the growth accelerator part. So, all right, growth, right? How did anybody grow during COVID? And the biggest thing I think is just remaining visible, right? You have to be consistent. As I mentioned, you have to be visible, and you have to remember that people have a million other things going on in their life. So they may have seen a message or something about you today, they forgot about you tomorrow, or even this evening, right? I mean, I know that I'm working on a million things, and then my kids come in and oops, I forgot what I was doing, because now their needs are, they need something right away, and they're actually pretty good negotiators. So they get what they want a lot. But let's talk about how do you grow? Okay, so success is not achieved alone. And one of the things that I recommend for individuals and also for businesses, right, is you need to be thought of as the expert. Everybody always wants to go to the best. So let's think about this in the two contexts. As an individual, if you're trying to promote your skills and advance your career, again, that book or podcast idea, tremendous, right? You can establish yourself as an expert. You've got a published book. Who has a published book, right? So now that's something that you can refer to, and it shows it's credibility. It shows your knowledge. It shows in a way your personality and something that you're passionate about because you actually wrote a book about it, right? If you are a restaurant, one of the things that I like to recommend for restaurants that are around me is like, hey, you should host some sort of class or some sort of thing where you can also bring the other restaurants in. And people are like, what? I don't want to work with my competitors. Like, no, you host the weekly wine talk or the weekly craft beer thing. And what that allows them to do is, one, bring in local brewers. So everyone wants to watch that content, and it only has to be 5 minutes, right? Quick conversation on a Facebook or YouTube live. And now you bring in the local restaurant owner down the road that you technically are competitors with. Well, why would you do that? Well, when they get interviewed on your Facebook page or your YouTube channel, they're going to share that post on their page. So now you're, for free, basically getting organic reach and touching customers that you're actually able to pull away or remind them like, hey, they're kind of connected. Maybe I should consider this new restaurant or this new business down the road that I hadn't considered before. So just think about different opportunities that you have where you can collaborate with people on a personal and professional level, business level, and think about your network overall, right? And that's what, was alluded to earlier. It's like imagine everyone in this call right now working together, all the different ways that we could support each other. That should be just part of your daily ritual, right? Who should I be talking to today, tomorrow, and the next day that I can support? And then, at some point they'll be supporting me too. And that's how we all become successful together. So I'll leave it with that. Thanks, Christian.
I absolutely love that. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. So in your chat, can you give me a 1 if the stuff you heard so far resonates with you? So can everybody go to the chat, give me a 1 if it resonated with you. If it doesn't, keep it to yourself. But just give me a 1 if what you heard so far resonated with you. Okay, yeah, 1. Do you think you could implement this on your own? I love what Eric said. So what we created here works for everything. It doesn't matter what business you're in. We gear it towards culinarians because we want culinarians to really create a side hustle. We want them to create 2 or 3 different streams of income. Because with chefs, you could do cooking classes, you could do blogs, and some of this stuff could be automated. It doesn't take a lot of money to do it. As I started out working on in this space, it cost me a few $1,000s for my first website. Now I can go on Fiverr and somebody builds me one for $45. It's so much cheaper to do it, and it doesn't really take a lot. You could create a podcast literally with your phone. And for me, I buy a lot of online courses. If you have a skill of something, online courses is something I want you to get into. If you read, there was an article from Forbes magazine back now, just about a month ago. They said that a lot more people want to learn from people which actually went through something and they overcame it and still doing it than going back to school. And that business, they call it the education industry, is currently a $700 million a day. Okay, you heard it right. $700 million a day industry. By the end of the year, it's going to be $1 billion a day industry. And I think there's something you're absolutely good at. I think you need to get a piece of it. Okay. So I want to take a little break here and shift gears a little bit because we talked about what do we currently do and how we serve our community. So if you're interested in working with us, we have a format or a tool we call the Culinary Reach Business Mentorship. It's a really simple format, is where we help businesses, individual from a mentor perspective. As you heard me say this earlier, everybody needs a mentor, everybody needs a coach. We have proven techniques because we use them ourselves, works all the time. We can help you create a game plan. We can help you work with you around mentoring in your business, in your career, and what you want to do. And also we can help you around accountability. For me, I have a mentor. I have a call with him every Monday. And if I fall behind in some of my stuff, you better believe it on Sunday night, I kind of bug it down because I don't want to let him down. So I work really hard on Sunday to show up on Monday and tell him that I got it done. So it's really important. So we can talk a little bit more about that. But I want to kind of get back to where we at. So we started out with the psychology, creating a product, and the product could be you, could be a new dish, could be a new menu. It could be a new extension of what you do. It could be a new connection, and kind of building that reputation around it, that people view you as an expert, and then finish it up with the marketing process Eric talked about. And Eric is a genius at that. I encourage you to kind of, bring him later, but he is really good in what he does. So I turn it back to, sorry, this is still Eric. So Eric is talking a little bit about growth and acceleration. So Eric, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think I kind of jumped the gun on some of the stuff here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't actually know much. I mean, there are a ton of tools that I'd love to go over with, people at some point. I'm available to talk about those things. It can be daunting to think about scheduling content and staying in front of people all the time. I mean, I know, I'm good at something like that for, a week or two, and then, you forget on Monday and you lose that trust that you've developed over time, right? So I think it's important to start thinking about how can I consistently show up in front of my customers, whether they're potential customers or, the raving fans that I've been working with and, connected with for many years. So, I'd say that. And then, I think, again, just focusing on collaboration with partners, any opportunity that you have to get in front of people that are not necessarily in, the group that you regularly interact with is where I would spend my time as much as possible on the marketing front.
Great. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Eric. So with that, I give it back to Uncle Joe. And the last piece, when you have the mindset, a new product, you are the authority in that field. And then you have the growth process and the marketing in place. All you need is customers. And Joe is going to talk a little bit about how to create raving fans.
Okay, so I want to talk about building a career or a company to last forever. And I mean, if it's a family business and being passed on, or being able to be at the pinnacle of your career, wherever that may want to be. I'm going to tell a little story on this for a successful company, because this just happened to me a couple of days ago. I have a friend who's got a restaurant for over 47 years. And at the height of the pandemic, both restaurants were shut down also. So going back about 7 years ago, I got a phone call, and it was, oh my gosh, my husband passed away. Joe, get up here now. She had 2 restaurants. Her second restaurant was her husband's restaurant, and it was even named after him. I'm going to disclose it at this point of the story. And got in a car, went up there, and it took everything. I ran over to one restaurant. She was still trying to deal with family. She had a restaurant. She had about 65 employees for her restaurant, but it went on autopilot. Everything went on autopilot. Why? Because they built a business and a restaurant and a company to last. It wasn't that they showed up sometimes and not showed up. They built it to last. They built it from the ground up. When they needed to be, they rolled up their sleeves and jumped in. When they didn't need to be, they jumped out, looked at it like from an airplane 40,000 feet up, and then found, and learned how to direct it from the air down. Point of this story is that that went through, we got them back on their feet, and then the pandemic hit. Again, get a phone call. I'm out of business. They shut me down. I've got my employees calling me. What the heck's going on? I don't even know what's going on, because it happened, like Chef says, overnight. Anyhow, again, to go, do your thing. We came out of a pandemic. Her liquor sales is what saved her. She every day made a game plan. Successful. Here it is. Fast forward out of COVID. She got open. And what happened? the first holiday hit. Okay, so here's a business or a successful company built to last here. When the biggest day from the pandemic was the first holiday, what was it? Cinco de Mayo. That's right. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Very good. Okay, so Cinco de Mayo. By a raise of hands, how many restaurants were ready for that? Not too many. What did we hear on the street, you guys? One good, one bad, right? They weren't ready. They were planning for months for this, okay? They did over 1,000 people on Cinco de Mayo. Perfect. No waiting lines here because they learned how to do the reservations. The to-goes were like clockwork, okay? Bam, they got through Cinco de Mayo. What was the next one? Mother's Day. They did the same thing. They did 1,200 people on Mother's Day. You know what they did on Mother's Day? They went in the back, started making sure she was okay, went to the front, handed a rose to every what? Mother out there, saying thank you for supporting us for all these years. That, my friend, is a built to last business, company, restaurant. And it was, what did it take? Was she a genius? No, it took just common sense, a thank you, some preparation, making sure if we're going to capitalize on this day that we don't screw up. Okay, 4 months ago, there's a big labor problem. There's a labor problem up there also. 4 months ago, what were they trying to do? Hang on to their employees, get their employees for what? All these upcoming things. Proper planning for the future. I'm going to tie it into it. It makes it that all these things are good systems. You got to have systems. And like Eric says, they have to be consistent. You can't just do it for a week, then not do it. Oh, I'm busy. I'm not busy. So the systems built on top of doing a good, successful plan for the business. And then at the end of this, and again, I'll rewrap it with the same thing for the restaurant. Going out there, being personal. Okay, she wasn't selling the restaurant. She was selling thank you for all supporting us, for having all of our employees back, for seeing you again, for coming back after a year, and then hyping the things that weren't on the bill. Okay, selling emotions. Okay, not products. And let me tell you, today she's got a waiting line, I guarantee you tonight, out the door for her restaurant. And her to-go business, are you guys sitting down? 2.5 times her sales since the pandemic. Okay, let me just ask you this. A simple thing such as a thank you card goes into every one of those to-go containers. By a show of hands, how many people are thanking their customers? Every single one, every day, every moment of the thing with a thank you card. Yeah. Simple things, not genius, but again, selling emotions, not products.
I absolutely love that. So these were the 6 pieces which made the circle. So now where you have the 6 pieces, and hopefully you took some notes, let me give you a $100,000 recipe. And the $100,000 recipe is, would you like to make an extra 100 grand in a year? And for me, one of my mentors taught me this principle. And for me, thinking of, hey, making another 100 grand seems really overwhelming. So let me break it down. If you would be part of our clients, how we kind of do that. So it would be really simple. You start out with a $50 product. So could you create a training course? Could you, if you have a restaurant, sell 2 more tables a day with the check average getting up to $50? Could you provide a service? Could you do something which people will give you $50 for? Could you do that? When you have that, to make 100 grand, you would have to sell 2,000 of them. That seems a little bit overwhelming, but what we find when you write things down, when you write down your outcome, the amazing thing is there's a 35% chance you get it done. And if you write it down, there's a 42% greater chance of executing on it. So I think that's why a lot of the goals fail from New Year's Eve. So write it down. This is what you want to do. 2,000 of them. If you break it down even more, does it seem a little bit more manageable that you need to do 167 of them a month? Yeah, I think easier to manage. Or how about if I ask you to do 38 of them a week, or really break it down even simpler, that it's about 5 or 6 of them a day, and you can make $100,000. Can you do something really simple, which is worth $50, or you can charge $50 for it? Especially we have Christian here who asked for a side hustle. Could you teach somebody something? What are you super passionate about? What are you good at? What do people come to you for? Create a course around it, create a business around it, a side hustle, which you could have on Evergreen, and people just keep paying you on, and you update it every year. Make 100 grand if you sell 5 to 6 of them a day. What I encourage you on, it's really easy when you do it, but if you get overwhelmed saying I need to sell 5 or 6 of them a day, you might not be made to be in business. It might be just a hobby for you. So I also want to put this out there. So how can you get to really drive in this business or in this industry? So if you look at it, you learn the whole system from the psychology to the product to positioning to marketing, how to grow it and create those clients. The first thing you need to do is take full responsibility. If you're in a business and the business is not doing the business you would like to, you are responsible for it. It takes out all of the garbage if you take 100% full responsibility. If you want to have a promotion and you didn't get the promotion or you were overlooked, you need to take full responsibility on it because it's you. You didn't bring value to the marketplace to deserve that. And then remove all of the negativity. We talked a little bit about that earlier. You don't want to be around people which negative. And you know what the sad thing is? Sometimes it's the people we're really closest to. It's our friends, our family. We have a lot of naysayers in our life. Kind of keep them a little bit at bay. Hang out with people which want you to do better. The next thing is get super focused and super disciplined. That circle we've shown you works for everything. It works for a $50 a day product. It works for a $500 a day product because your mindset needs to change. If you think different, you act different and you execute different. Does that make sense? That circle works all the time. It doesn't matter if you're in a real estate, if you're in the IT business, if you're in a restaurant business, if you want to get a promotion, if you're a lawyer, it does not make a difference. And that's what I'm super passionate about this is, as we created this, we were like, holy shit, anybody can use this. It works in every industry, but it's super important to get focused on it, 100% get focused, get clarity, and be disciplined around it. And then remain consistent. You probably heard the story about the largest piece of gold which was ever found. I think it was $300 million, whatever it was, where somebody was digging for it for 8 years. The person stopped. One of the employees got back in, and I'm paraphrasing him on the story, and he dug another 2 days and found a $300 million gold nugget. So remain consistent. If you follow that circle we just talked about, works all the time. And then you need a mentor. And how do you know if you have the right mentor? The right mentor need to have gotten the results you are after. Not only do they need to have the results, they also need to be still in the business they're in, because then you know they can give you the right answers. So super important to have a mentor or somebody you can trust who is a confidant for you, and then do exactly what they ask you to do. If I give you a great recipe for German chocolate cake and you leave the chocolate out, it's just German. Nobody likes that. You know, you want German chocolate cake, it needs chocolate in it. So it's super easy. The same thing with the mentorship. If you work with a mentor, you need to be 100% clear, 100% disciplined. You need to be consistent and keep going and do exactly what they ask you to do. So that's really the end of our presentation, but I want a quick check in and then we have a few more things for you. How was this for so 5? If somebody wants to unmute and ask some questions, what resonated? What kind of says, oh my God, I never really thought about that. Let me go around the room. So my first person is Shri. Shri, what kind of resonated with you, what you heard?
I'll tell you, first of all, thank you very much. And it really showed me some of the transition which I made last 5 years to where I am today. Taking full responsibility is the key aspect. I think it begins from there. As you were aware of it, and when I took complete responsibility as to how I need to be, where I need to be, actually I've started working half the time and actually made more money.
Yep.
And I'm able to do what I want to do, and I can pick and choose. I think from there, everything else happens. And a simple example is also my son recently had a lot of challenges in the first year in engineering. And today got his results from first semester to second semester. He's already made 125% jump.
Wow.
And he feels so great about it because he started removing negativity. He took full responsibility. And now he's going to the next step. So thank you very much. I think those two things lies the foundation.
I love that. And the taking responsibility is actually really hard. And even for me, you know, as all of the things I was able to do, I still struggle with that. And for me, it's a daily routine. I need to remind myself. And, you know, I spend a lot of time with Joe. Joe knows I have a list and I follow the list every day because for me, it's hard to be disciplined. You know, I like to be creative. It's, you know, we chefs. So it's really hard for me. But doing this, I see that huge impact. And as I said, just simple thing of writing things down. If that can increase the likelihood of you getting it done, 42%, you better believe it or write it down. And those are the little things I, over my career, had the opportunity to learn. So Christian, if you're still here, Christian, what resonated with you? And you said you wanted to have a side hustle. Does this give you an idea of how to create a side hustle? You still there, Christian? Did we lose you? Okay, I move on to Steve. Steve, how about you?
Well, you know, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on, and thank you, Chef Christian, Chef Joe, and Eric, and you know, everything that you asked what resonated. I mean, I can't tell you whether it was the pain points, whether it was be different, the messaging, the culture, a lot of the things that you talked about here, that all of you talked about, really confirms that I'm on the right path. Okay. Because, sometimes when you're in your own business, you have that ability to be negative on yourself. It's not about just taking responsibility, but, sometimes we have a bad day. We have 2 bad days and we're like, crap, this, and we just have to keep going. We have to be consistent. And what I found, for myself is that I had some negative people and some toxic people that I was involved with in my business, that once I cut them out, I grew, okay? Because, they were holding me back, but I was letting them holding me back, and that was my fault, right? So that's part of the accountability and taking responsibility, instead of sitting back going, man, that guy's really killing me. No, he's not killing me. I'm killing me, right? It's like the old person that says, oh, you make me sick. No, I don't make you sick. You make yourself sick. I don't have that ability to make you sick, right? You're letting it happen. So, when you talk about all this stuff, I mean, everything that you said, it confirms what my thought process is. It shows me that, I'm on the right path. Listen, I've been in this now for 4.5 years. I've wanted to quit so many times, and you mentioned before, Chef Joe, about the restaurant and how the woman basically conquered COVID, if you will, okay, where others just threw up their hands. I went through about a week or 2 where I just said, all right, everyone's off. I'm going to take off. No one's interested. People are doing what they're doing. Hung out at the pool, relaxed a little bit. But then I had a thought. I said, wait a second. I need to use this, unfortunately, to my advantage. how is it going to fit into my business model, right? And most of you don't know, but we do electronic cards, but they're marketing tools. So I hate to just call them electronic cards, where we would help people reach others easier, faster, better, safer. Now I said, wait a second, and safer, right? Because contactless, easy information exchange. I don't want to make an advertisement for what I do, but you know, it just right then. And I actually survived during the pandemic because I was able to help people, which I probably should have charged them for helping them market themselves better, network better. You know, but see, I'm kind of I'm a little bit of a giver sometimes, you know. I love to help people. I want to give people stuff. I don't mind. I want to give people my time, right? Because I want them to learn from my mistakes. They're just like my children. You know, my children screw up and I say to them, hey, listen, let me tell you something. I've been where you've been. I've made those mistakes. Let me tell you how not to make them so you learn from my mistakes so you don't have to go through the same. Make your own stupid mistakes, right? Make your own mistakes, but don't make my mistakes. So, you know, when you ask me what resonated, I guess, you know, in short, everything resonated. You know, normally about this time, I'm kind of zoning out on Zooms, but I have to tell you, I've been sitting here writing notes and going through stuff and saying, wow, this is just okay. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's right. And now I realize it's right because I'm writing it down and saying, oh, shit, I touch these people. I say happy birthday and happy anniversary to every single one of our customers. And we do that through Facebook. Thank you, Eric. And we do that in the messaging. And so, again, sorry for the long-winded answer, but I couldn't help myself.
I got a question for you. You've been in business for a long time, so I know that this new business is new for you. But, and I'm not saying you're old. I'm not saying you're old, but you've been around a little bit.
He is.
By us, here's my point of this, okay? By us saying this, by you reconfirming it, let me ask you this. When you came on the call to now, where's your confidence level? Has it increased or decreased?
Oh, yeah, listen, my confidence level is always up, and this call would not decrease my confidence level, okay? Anytime I talk to either you or Chef Christian, my confidence level goes up anyway, right? But my confidence level went up to the point where, okay, I'm on the right path. And you know, when you think about our conversations that we've had, all of this is, you know, I wouldn't be on this call had it not been for the card and how we met, you know. So yes. So the simple answer is my confidence level is always high, but it's even higher right now until I go inside and eat my wife's tacos.
That's awesome. So thank you, Steve. The next one on my list, Christian, are you back? Can you unmute and do your video if you're back? If not, I'd turn it over to Sony. Did anything resonate with you? What was an aha moment for you? Hold on.
I see something in the chat from Sunny.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chef.
There it is.
What resonates me here was the writing down your plan and the product. I think if you have the dream, and then you write it on the piece of paper and then put it on a stick pad and keep looking at it every day. And then also those the responsibility, and that's what resonates me. And chefs, I would like to thank you, and I'm glad to be here. And I hope there's another meeting, but I have to go. I have a work interview today at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and looking forward for the next meeting. Thank you, chefs.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
Stay in touch.
So kind of let's wrap it up. So we talked about the program we have and how we currently support our business, and we promised we're going to talk to you guys a little bit more about the Culinary Reach business mentorship. So our program starts on May the 25th, and a few things you got to get. The first one is a digital product system. It's a 3-month live interaction program. The call we had here today, we're going to have 8 of them over 3 months, and we're going to help you shorten your learning curve and kind of condense time without going back to school and get a degree. The second thing you get with this is 8 classes. We talked about it, 8 calls, and these are bi-weekly calls with Joe, Eric, and I are going to help you overcome hurdles. So we kind of physically talk you through it. Hey, how did marketing go? What do you need help with? We're going to help you get over that. And we also help you to empower you to confidently finish anything you want to create. And we currently out there value this at almost $8,000. But where the real thing comes in is what our performance system is. This is the best of what we learned in our 90 years combined industry experience here. We create a bi-weekly game plan, we hold you accountable, and we mentor you and coach you through it to get done what you want to get done. And then we have virtual live events in addition to the calls where you get other people to come in and you get to interact with other people which went through what you just went through, to build your network, to build your influence. And it gives you an opportunity to meet some other really amazing experiences. So the program you have is the value is $19,200. Obviously, you don't pay $19,200 for it. So we said because of COVID and what's currently going on, we want to really give back to the industry. You get Joe, me, and Eric for almost 30 hours, combined 90 hours with our 90 years. How cool is that? And that today, if you want to make a single payment, it's $1,997, or we allow people to 4 monthly installments of $525. So you probably ask, hey, what else is there? And for us, leadership is really important. So we're throwing in a bonus, which is a 30-day leadership and influence course, which is an electronic course. We currently retail for $400. That's part of it. Again, a $19,200 value, which you can be part of it. And we're starting this on the 25th and get you going and get your industry or your business up and running. So who is this really for? It's for somebody who is an employee who wants to get a promotion. Somebody, even if you have no idea yet, Christian, if you're still on, if you have no idea yet, we can help you discover that and build something around it. If you're currently a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a coach or a consultant, if you're an author, a speaker, or even if you're a network marketer, or if you have an online store, the system works, we can help you through it. Again, it's a $19,200 value, and we offer that today for the 4 payments of $525. Again, we have a 14-day money back guarantee. If for some reason you do not like it, let us know. I want to talk a little bit with Eric and with Joe why people should join our mentorship program. So Eric, why do you think people need to be part of this program?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, everyone has mentors, right? Even the president. So, in life, you get an education and you'll pay for it one way or another. You pay for it with your time, your money, in your business, or potentially through mentorship. And the 3 of us, have and continue to have mentors in our lives, and they help us, acquiring knowledge and skills and shorten the amount of time, money, and energy that we need to achieve our own goals. So it's super powerful to have one in your life. We know that we've learned that success is not achieved alone. And, frankly, it's too crowded at the bottom living on Complacency Boulevard. That's what I tell, honestly, some of the clients that I've worked with is that, that they're looking to sort of step out of their comfort zone, which is always a hard thing to do. But they're looking for somebody that will sort of understand their problem. It's not just a cookie cutter approach. It's like, hey, what do you need in your business right now? And how can we get there? And so I feel like that's what mentorship offers. And, it helps you not spin your wheels. We've probably done that on our own, in prior lives, but have grown and have been more successful with mentors in our lives. So I think that's why. Thanks.
You know,
Right.
I'm going to interject and I'm going to say there's two whys here. There's a why for us three up here. And our why is we want to pay back. We have been a very colorful, fun career, things that have paid back to us. We want to pay it forward. So that's one little why. We want to pay it forward. As I always say, you know, and I've got a certain amount of knowledge, and before my rent's due, I want to pass it on. So that's one little why there. But the other why is you owe it to yourself too, because here it is. It's being handed to you, and you're like a train just watching it go by. And before you know it, because you know, I'm 125 years old, bam, life goes by like that. And so you owe it to yourself to not let the train watch by, jump on board and do it. I want to cap it one more thing because it just resonated to myself. In fact, actually, Christian and I were both in the same meeting, and it was a mentor meeting, but it was a business mentor meeting. And one of the people in there, and it wasn't food service because the numbers would be wrong. And when Christian throws out a stat, I guarantee you it is the correct stat because he's our stat man. One of our colleagues just sold his business for $450 million with an M dollars. He was at that meeting. So that's the power of mentorship. If you had $450 million and he just had his payday, I believe, Christian, am I right? Was it last week?
He did. He said
So the money
cashed the
was
check.
in the bank. What the hell was he doing there and not on his private jet going around? That's the power of a mentorship meeting. Okay. And that's a true story. So I just wanted to tag that on.
Yeah, I absolutely. And for me, you know, I think the biggest thing I see in our industry is that the people which give the care don't take care of themselves. And if you look at this program, kind of pays you back. So if you get a promotion, which is a $20,000 promotion, it's a very small investment. If this allows you to get your business off the ground and you have it on evergreen and you can make an extra 1,000 a month, what is it going to do for you? And if this is on lifetime, and this works, because that's what we've been doing. So I encourage you, and you owe it to yourself to invest in yourself. So if you're interested in the chat, we send you the link. If you're interested, sign up for it. And with that, I want to go quick back to Q&A. And we also have a special guest here. It's late at night in the beautiful UK. Chef Parveen is joining us. Maybe we get to chat with her a little bit. But I wanted to see if there's any questions and if anybody wants to ask a little bit more about the program, and be very happy to chat to you about it. Any questions?
Including
No?
anything you need help with in your business or life.
Yeah. So great, we appreciate being on. So Chef Parveen, what is it? 1 o'clock in the morning in the UK?
You're on mute. You have to speak louder.
Hi, good evening, everybody. No, I think it's 10:30 here, but I went out for the very first time to a restaurant for the very first time in like a year. So yeah, so forgive me, I'm quite tired, but I wanted to join to hear everything because I do believe in what you're saying about having a mentor. Only the people that do the job know about the job, especially in the food services industry, in the hospitality, because it can be quite unforgiving and relentless and hard work. And you just need somebody to say, keep going, this is going to work. And not everybody, unless you're in that industry, we don't understand that industry. There's only a few rare people that follow their passion and are successful. I don't think 450 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of, I can buy a lot of shoes. And it's lovely to just have people, like-minded people that you can bounce off. For me, that means huge. Not everybody gets what I do and why I do it.
Great.
I think we need mentors. We all need mentors.
So do you currently have a mentor in your career?
Not so much. There's nobody I aspire to be who's doing what I'm doing, but I have people who are experts in their field to guide me, but nobody actually in the food industry to do what I'm doing actually don't. No, Christian.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like a little bit of a trailblazer.
I know we spoke yesterday. So I currently, truth be told, I have 3. One of them is the former CEO of Cadbury. He retired. He happens to live close by, so I connect with him once a month. So he's really good. I have a business. He's a coach more than a mentor. And then I have one of my business partners. He just hit 15 billion in revenue. I think he's doing something right. And so if he tells me something, I try to follow it. So he's my informal mentor. And Joe knows, I spend $45,000 a year on my mentors because I see that coming back, and that's what's important to me. And in order for you to get to the next level, you need the next level thinking. And when you get to a certain level, the people which are in there holding you accountable have whole different expectation. And for me, I wouldn't be where I am without mentors. And by the way, I need to introduce you to Chef Shri. He is our Indian connection. And remember the package sauce I showed you? He said that's what I should use. Go yell at him.